Yo, and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector. Happy Monday. It's a fun day. I got a couple of cool things to show. I got some cards from my buddy, JT, Triple Crown 24. He also sent me this nice hat, which I will wear with pride because JT is a great friend of mine and a great guy in this community, in this hobby. And so anytime I can support him, he's selling all kinds of great stuff on his Triple Crown 24 eBay store. So go make sure you go check that out. But he always buys me cards too. He's always at a show. He called me again this weekend. Hey, I'm at a show. Do you need this? And so it's like I'm at the show. I mean, I have a guy that knows what I like and bought me a couple things a few weeks ago, and I got those. I'm going to show those. But the real gist of this episode is the PSA DNA, or not PSA DNA, sorry, the PSA order that I have right here. It's in this giant box. And I'll unbox that in a second and show you guys, but I've already looked at the grades, and let me give you a little background. I'm wearing my Chasing Cardboard shirt today because these are all Chasing Cardboard cards. Some of them are Glenn's that are going to be for sale, and I'll distinguish those. But most of them are from another collection, the one in Tulsa where we went and bought the entire house of cards. If you guys saw that episode, insane amount of stuff. And we got all of it back, put it in storage sheds. And as we were kind of getting through it and kind of like, okay, we're kind of over this, we need to get rid of this stuff, we found two sets, a 77 tops and a 78 tops, complete set, in a binder, crispy. I mean, these were nice. And so I took them. That was I got them for free, basically. So that was just part of the deal. So I've had them in a binder, and I said, well, I might as well send these in. Once grading costs got low, I paid $18 per card for this submission. These were there for about 3+ months, 3.5 months. I sent them off that long ago, but back today. So yeah, it's still taking quite a while for vintage. Vintage is now only $15 a slab. And so these were 18 at the time. And I'm like, okay, let me just send these in. I can't even find a lot of them. They're not a ton of pop out on these cards. They're kind of weird. Some of them are just kind of like, okay, who's going to grade this? Well, I want it graded. And so I'll just send it in at $18. I can do that because they were so nice, right? And I'm like, these should all come back. 6s, 7s, mostly 7s, maybe a few 8s sprinkled in there, but certainly nothing lower than a 6. I'm like, this will be great. Perfect for me. And at that price point, that made sense. But then I looked at the grades. Then I got the grades. And I was incredibly disappointed. I have not, as you just saw, I have not opened the box. I haven't inspected the cards really thoroughly to see things that I might have missed. But the reality is I was going to grade them anyway. And there's so many people out there that do not understand the PSA Kool-Aid mentality. And I get that. A lot of people are going to say, well, if they're grading harsher or they're taking too long or they're whatever, use another grading company. I get that. I actually think SGC, top to bottom, SGC is the best company to grade cards with. If I could start all over, I would use SGC. Unfortunately, I can't start all over. That's not true. I could. I am unwilling to start all over. That's probably a more accurate way to describe it. I am unwilling to start all over. And it's important to give you this context because, again, there's so many of you out there that don't understand a guy like me and why I feel the way that I feel. I had just looked right before I hit record on this video. I'm closing in on 3,600 PSA slabs in my collection. That's not going to change. I like what they do. I really do. I like the set registry. I like it all. It doesn't mean I can't have problems with either how harsh they're grading, how long they're taking, all of those things. And I thought of what I think is a reasonable analogy. Again, you guys are just getting into the mind of Mike here, which is a deep, dark hole, by the way. You don't want to get lost in there. But I will tell you that I thought of an analogy that I thought made sense. So I'm a Rangers fan, Texas Rangers, baseball. The Rangers might suck, and I might not agree with every decision they make, and they may disappoint me on the field, but I'm still going to be a fan of theirs, no matter what, because it is just ingrained in me. That's kind of how I feel about PSA. No matter how much they screw up or what bad decisions they make, how long they take, how much they lose, whatever it is, I'm still a fan. And I'm going to be a fan. I'm a loyal fan. I'm going to stay with them and use them because I like them, because it's part of my hobby history, because it's how I've built my collection to where it is today. And I'm not just going to throw that away because they screw up a few times or because they've gotten harsher on grading. That's kind of just is what it is. I can't change PSA any more than I can change the Texas Rangers and who they sign and how they play on the field. Am I still going to root for them? You bet. Am I still rooting for PSA to get better and do things better? Of course. Am I still going to be critical of what they do and their business practices? Absolutely. They're not above criticism by any means with me. I actually think there's a lot of things they can do better. So, Nat, if you're watching, give me a call. I'll give you some suggestions. But the idea that I'm just going to stop using PSA, regardless of what's in this box, which I already know what's in this box, and I'm not happy with it. I admit that. I'm not happy with the grades. And I'm just like, how is this possible? These cards all looked great when I was pulling them out of the binder that they were in. They hadn't been touched in, these are all late 70s cards. They hadn't been touched since probably the 80s. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not the one grading a card. And you have to remember, grading is subjective. It shouldn't be, but it is. And therefore, it's one person's opinion on one particular day about the condition of that card. It's not gospel. It's not, infallible. Anytime you have the human element in anything, it's going to have its degree of issues. And so, am I disappointed? Yes. Will I stop using PSA? No. Sorry. It's just not happening. So I've got a few things to show off. I'll unbox these cards. I'll flip this around, show you what I got. It's 37 cards, I think. So hang on one second. Let's get to it. All right, here we go. Let me show you the stuff I picked up. These are both from JT, like I said earlier. I got two Topps Archives. These are basically buyback cards, and they have them signed, and then they stamp them with Archives and give them a serial number. 88 Topps Lee Smith, numbered to 47. 82 Topps Jim Cott, numbered to 99. So those are for my player run Hall of Famer autographs. I finally decided to pick this card up because I've been wanting it for a long time. The 2002 Bowman Chrome Zach Greinke. This is in the Future Hall of Famer set registry, and I do think Zach Greinke is a Future Hall of Famer. So I wanted to get his rookie card. I didn't have this, and so, yeah, not a cheap card, by the way, but glad to finally pick that up. Okay, here we go with the submission. First up, these are some cards from Glenn's collection that we found. Interesting holder job that PSA did here. This is a gigantic holder. These are 1960 McGregor. So what these are, Glenn wrote to McGregor and said, hey, can you send me cards of the players that represent your product? And so there's a bunch of these, and a lot of them are kind of no-name guys or whatever. Some of them, most of them are not that valuable, but there's some great players in here, including Hank Aaron. This one came back a 5, and I think they could have used the smaller holder, but maybe not. So there's an Aaron in a 5. I've got an Aaron in a 6. And so he would just keep sending back to them, like, hey, send me more, and send me. So he had multiples of each player. So there's 2 Hank Aaron's. Here is Willie Mays. That's in a 5. And then there's a Willie Mays in a 4. I mean, they're really cool. They're blank back. They're really cool. They're just gigantic. I mean, that holder is huge. So yeah, these are actually for sale. Selling these for Glenn. So if anybody wants these, let me know. Get in touch. Yeah, there's this Frank Robinson is a 6, so that's very cool. Reds, and then another Frank in a 5. So those are actually cool. Okay, the rest of these are all my cards. These are all cards for the 4 Decades set. Cards that I just want for my PC. Let's get to the bad news first. I had 3 rejected. These were all from a set that I bought, 65. So there's some 65s in here, and I just pulled all the ones that I didn't have graded yet and decided to grade them. These were all, this one miscut. I literally bought a complete set. This one was men's size required. This one was really nice too. I was like, oh. And then this is from the 77 top set. Again, this is a card that you just don't see graded that often. And it came back miscut. So, yeah, that's not great. So I don't know what I'll do with those. Next, all the rest of them were graded. So here we go. I'm literally just going to start at the top of the stack. Again, another card you don't see graded very often. You got Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, pictured on the 77 tops, commemorating the World Series in 76. This came back a 5. Another World Series card that shows Johnny Bench here and Bench here. This came back a 5. And again, I mean, I guess there's a little surface wrinkle right there. You can see it there now, right in that corner. Tom Seaver, 77, came back a 6. Actually, that one's not disappointing. I mean, that's fine. I'm bitching, and all these first ones aren't terrible. I mean, there's a 77 tops, Sparky Anderson, that came back in 8. But honestly, all the cards were this type of shape. So this is kind of what I was expecting in this order, honestly. 70 tops. These are randomly put in here, so I'm just going to show them. This is from a set that I had. This is definitely off center. That came back a 5. Ron Santo All-Star. 77 tops. Strikeout leaders, you've got Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver, and that came back a 4. You're going to see a lot of 4s, guys, I think, if I remember correctly. Again, I had some 70 tops that I needed graded from a set that I had. Here's the Jim Cott. It came back a 5. Walter Alston, manager, Hall of Famer, 5. League leaders, home run leaders, you've got 2 Hall of Famers here, McCovey and Aaron, 4.5 on that. Corner's pretty bad. This one came back a 6, 1970. You've got 4 Hall of Famers on here, Seaver, Necro, Jenkins, and Marischal. Very cool card. I love the league leaders because they're typically pretty cheap if you can find them. More league leaders from 1970. You've got Rose, Clemente on that one, and Cleon Jones, batting leaders. Next, we've got the RBI leaders for the National League. 3 Hall of Famers here, McCovey, Santo, and Perez. That came back a 6. I love on the back of the league. Ooh, that's really off center on the back. League leaders, it just tells you, like, all the way down to somebody who had 53 RBIs. Like, it goes way down the list of leaders. 1965 tops, Braves rookies, Phil Necro. This isn't actually his rookie. It's 64 tops, I think, is actually his rookie. But that came back a 4. Oh, here we go. The parade of crap. Ed Matthews in a 3. to me, like to get a 3, there's got to be a crease somewhere. I mean, the centering's not bad. There's a little bend in that. See, that wasn't. See how it's bent up there? Don't think I sent a bent card. Yeah, I did look these over pretty good when I sent them. Here comes another 4 league leaders, RBI. This is 65 tops. You've got Killebrew, Mantle, and Robinson, Brooks Robinson. That came back a 4. Joe Torre came back a 4. Again, I'll look at all these way better later. 5 on the home run leaders here, Mantle, Killebrew. A 4 on the National League home run leaders, Billy Williams, Cepeda, Willie Mays. '70 tops, Reggie and Killebrew, RBI leaders. So you can see I sent in a bunch of leaders cards because, again, these just don't come up a lot. And when they do, somebody wants $25, $30, $40 for them. And I'm like, well, at $18 and no cost of the card, I'll do that. This is a great card. Minnie Minoso, 1977 tops, oldest player to hit safely. That's so cool. There's the back if you want to pause it and you can read about Minnie Minoso's achievement there. That's pretty cool. Love that. Some 78 tops now. Again, this was another set that was free. This is the Ted Simmons, came back a 6. Again, I bet if qualifiers were still kind of going as a normal thing, this would be like an 8 OC, or it's just a 6. You know, that's kind of the choices there because it's crispy. Sparky Anderson, 78 tops, came back a 5. The Tommy Lasorda came back a 6. Another leaders card from 78, Dave Parker, who should be in the Hall of Fame, and Rod Carew, who is in the Hall of Fame. Batting leaders, came back a 5. 77 again, Jim Cott, came back a 5. '78 tops, card number 1, Lou Brock record breaker, came back a 5. 2 more. 77 tops, Ted Simmons, near mint 7. Again, this was kind of the expectation on all these cards, was about this grade. Because, again, they're all from the same set. All looked similar to me. I was really excited about this because I was getting so many cards done. And the last card, 77 tops, Earl Weaver on the Orioles team card. That came back a 6. So lots of 60s cards that came back, you know, 4s and 5s. You know, I think they're pretty harsh, and I don't know that that's going to change anytime soon. Again, not necessarily. I'm just disappointed in it. It just kind of is what it is. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think down below, and we will catch you guys soon. Keep collecting.